your computer.
No problem.
Thanks. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Meetings with Students. So lovely to have each of you here. And it is 1:16, so I am going to get started. And I have the first question is asking what grade levels this is for, and I will be honest and say the materials in the toolkit are going to be probably K-8. However, you can modify everything that I'm going to go over with you today to meet secondary students' needs. Even the games we're playing, I will even give you some strategies about how to make it cooler for high schoolers, you know? So thank you for joining us today, and we really appreciate you coming. This is not the same presentation that we had. Oh, SFUSD. If you were part of new teacher orientation and you attended virtual meeting with students, then yes, it is very similar to that session, but that was only for new teachers. So if you were at that new teacher orientation and you did attend the session with me, yes, it is the same session. So feel free to go to any of the webinars outside of this one right now as you wish. Okay, so we are going to be, Zareen is my co-host today. Would you like to introduce yourself, Zareen?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm on the digital learning team as well, so I'll be helping out with the chat and moderating.
And I'm Devorah Merling. I'm a teacher on special assignment with the Department of Technology. And yeah, so here is the slide deck for the session today. And the toolkit for resources. So we are going to be toggling between these two pieces right here. As still people are coming in, please make sure you have these links. Zareen, if you could pop those in, that would be awesome. And we'll pop them up again, so don't worry if you are like, well, how do I do that? And I'm using a bit.ly, which is like a shortened piece. Okay, so what we are going to do today, I just want to give you a couple of reminders about Zoom and how Zoom works. So here we go. Please keep yourself on mute, except when I tell you to unmute, and I will. We are going to be recording this session, so if you do not want to be in the recording, please stop your video if you do not want to be there. Please use the chat for any questions that you may have, and feel free to use your non-reaction cues. We got some new cues coming down the line with Zoom. By the way, there's going to be not only a thumbs up, but a little clap, a little heart. I think there's a wow one. So you'll have lots of different pieces that you can do. Okay. Ooh, and that tiny URL down there is not the one that you should be using. I thought I took that off. Okay, screen management, you can have two windows up at the same time, the meeting itself and the document we're going to be working on, which is called Virtual Meeting with Students. It'll be a little toolkit, and there's going to be multiple times during the session where you are going to be using it and working in it. So please feel free to switch. And if you don't know how to make your two screens, you can minimize, if you're in full screen with your Zoom meeting right now, you can go up to the top under View Options and click Exit Full Screen, and then make your, go to the corner. That's why there's a little red circle right here. Go to the corner and make it a little bit smaller, and then you can get your Google Chrome piece and make that into a small. So you have like a half and half split screen, okay? And so what we're going to do first, like I said, is we'd love you to use the chat button and learn how it works. So we're going to use chat, and I'd love for you to share your name, the school site you are at, and the grade level you will be teaching. Okay, so we're just going to give you guys a couple minutes to do that. And welcome everybody. We got some second graders and third graders. Ooh, we got some OT in the house. Woo, woo. Second grade, we got some central office people. We have a big round of everybody. Hi, Sandy. There's my face. Nice to see you. We've been talking on email a lot, me and Sandy. Okay, nice, excellent. We got some high schoolers, K-8, kindergarten, second grade. So we all are coming from a gamut of all different places. So welcome, welcome everybody. Okay, so here we are gonna go with our warm opener. And the first thing I want you to do is get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil. I'm going to give you a second to go get a piece of paper and a pencil. Once you have your piece of paper and your pencil, you're going to fold it into 3 different sections. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you can give me a thumbs up in your window from reactions once you have your piece of paper ready to go. You have a piece of paper, you got a pen, because this is your first lesson of virtual engagement with strategies. Not everything has to be done on the computer. We can combine paper and pen and the meeting so that our students are engaged in the learning at their seat while you're engaging them with your conversation or the content that you are teaching. So it's important to make sure that you're thinking through your lessons, where and when you can add in some paper and pencil activities. I'm gonna date myself, back in 1999, SFUSD used to have a do now. It was a mandatory thing. You had to walk into the room, and as soon as the kids came in, you had a 5-minute pen and paper activity, always. So I am a do now kind of girl because that's what I like learned, tried and true about. So we have our little do now right now, which is going to be a few little warm-up questions. Okay, thumbs up. Are we ready to go? I see some thumbs. Remember, you have the reactions down at the bottom. Oh, yeah, Jennifer's got it. Henry's got it. Donna's got it. Yes, excellent, excellent. Let's get going. Here we go. First question is, number of years that you have been teaching. And remember, teaching is not only in the classroom, but there's coaches, babysitters, camp counselors, and those most important people that we have to build community with this year, as more than ever, parents. So write down your number, and when you have your number, you're going to bring it right up to the screen and post it. So if you are off video right now, you probably do want to turn your video on and put your number into the screen so we can all share and see what we have in common, what we don't have in common. Ooh, Monica, go Monica. Henry, we got some veterans out there with my calculations, huh? Susie, and let's see, excellent, Rebecca and Zareen and Shakari, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Jessica and Julie. Welcome everybody. Well, thank you so much for telling me how many years you've been on a teacher. All right, next question. Are we ready? Here we go. Okay, write down one hobby that you want to share with students this year. One hobby that you want to share with your students this year. Okay, and when you've got it, oh, and I want to be clear and say that if you don't have a pen and paper, it is perfectly okay for you to put it into the chat right now. So those of you who took advantage of that chat, thank you for recognizing you can put it wherever you need to, okay? Ooh, Monica's going to share some yoga. Excellent. I got some gardening and photography, lots of gardening, binge watching television shows, jigsaw puzzles, awesome, and design. I'll tell you, I just recently started paddle boarding. It has been my go-to zen. Highly recommended, all of you. But I'm going to start taking pics when I'm out in the water. Just got myself a waterproof pouch so that I can take those pictures and share them with my students. All right, here we go. Next question. Now, I want to be really clear about this instructions for you guys. You're going to write down some things that you love to teach or something that sparked you to become a teacher, but I don't want you to hold it up. I want you to hold it in your hand because we're going to share it when we go into breakout rooms. Okay, so you don't need to post it up here. You're going to actually take it with you as I make breakout rooms right now, and you are going to use it to share with other people. So where's my breakout rooms? Breakout rooms, breakout rooms. Give me a sec to make a breakout rooms. Where is it? Come back here. Okay. So we have 80, almost 80 participants. There's going to be, I'm going to make 10 rooms, so we are a little bit less people. I'm going to create these breakout rooms right now. If you have not gone into a breakout room before, you're just going to get a pop-up window and you just click join. And then when you get in, please remember to use some of the norms of sharing the air, unmute yourself and introduce, and then call on the next person until everybody has gone, okay? So here we go, everybody. Enjoy your breakout rooms. I will put a little notice when you have 1 minute left in your rooms. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock. Thanks so much. See you in a little bit. Zareen, if you could stay here with me. All right, everybody. You should be getting a notice, and then you can just join that meeting. Pop on over. Let's see. All right, here we go. I have to open the rooms. Let me, second, there you go, everybody. Okay, you should be now getting a little pop-up window. Okay. Okay. Please let me know in the chat window if you're having a problem joining the meeting. Okay. If anyone's having an issue joining the breakout rooms, please let us know. You can even unmute yourself to ask a question of how you get in there. Okay, hi Debbie, if you just joined us, we are in breakout room sharing what sparked us to become a teacher. I'm gonna assign you a room right now. Okay, enjoy. Hi, Elaine. Welcome to Virtual Meetings with Students. Everyone is in a breakout room sharing what sparked them to become a teacher. I'm going to assign you to a room right now. And Zareen, if you can help me with timing, that's my bad. I just have no, I'm like, oh, it's been 5 minutes, let's go. Everyone's like, Devorah, can you calm down on your like timing? Cause you just, and I talk through all of it. I'm like, okay, you guys have 5 minutes to learn and I'm gonna talk through it.
There was one question. Some people are curious how to make breakout rooms. I don't know if you want to get into that or if we should direct them. I have some slides actually that I made on that I could just pop in that. Maybe I'll just do that. And then we can say, go to the Zoom
Sure.
webinar if you want.
Yeah, hi June and hi Karen. I'm gonna pop you guys into some breakout rooms. You're sharing what you learned, what sparked you. All right, so we're at 1:30, 1:31, so they've had like 3 minutes in there. Okay, so 1 more minute.
Yeah.
Hi, Jonathan, welcome. And hi, Karen, welcome. We are, if you can hear me, we're in breakout rooms, but we're going to be coming out in just a minute. If you just want to hang here for a minute, I think it'll be a little easier. Okay, I'm going to send a message to everybody and say, okay, I'm going to pop off close the rooms up and share my screen again. Break out. Freak out. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Always greet with a happy one. And thank you for participating in your first breakout session of our virtual meeting with students. If you are just joining us, please check the chat. Zareen will be popping in the slide deck and the toolkit links for you so you can follow along. And let's see if anyone's still in those rooms or have they been all closed up. Looks like we still have some. We have a lot of breakout rooms. Takes a lot of time for 70, 80 participants to get back into the room. So while we're here, I'm going to teach you guys something, okay? Those of you who have your videos open, okay, this is called it's like a energizer, okay? So while you're all coming in, at any point when I say, let's say what animal do I want to do today? I'm going to do guinea pig for Zareen and I. And I have a new guinea pig at my house. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard a guinea pig, but guinea pigs make this little week, week sound, right? And my little guinea pig goes up on his little hands. He's got these tiny little hands. He goes, week, week. Okay? So anytime I call out the word guinea pig, everybody's got to stop what they're doing. You can unmute if you want or not. It's okay. You're all going to put your hands up and go, week, week. Okay? Has everybody got that? Let's go through it again and we can try one time. Here we go. You can unmute if you want to join in. Here we go. I call guinea pig. Everyone says, week, week, week. And if you don't like guinea pigs, you can think of elephant. You can do elephant. Woo! I don't know how does an elephant make a sound? Elephant. You could do alligator, alligator. Chomp, chomp. Okay. So now I'm gonna mute back up. And you can see how these little energizers, like we've been in meetings all morning long, right? These little energizers, they just get your body and your mind out of what you've been doing, and they help us to really come back into ourselves, come back.
Deborah, you're muted.
Sorry, that was my fault. Can you unmute yourself, Devorah? I was just muting everyone else.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see that these energizers really just help us to move along wherever I am. So if I see you guys drooping, I'm gonna call guinea pig, okay? But just like in the classroom, you can find and create your own call and responses with your students that you can, but make them energizers, make them so that they're moving it about, okay? So during this session, our outcomes for today are going to be, we're gonna use a toolkit that I've created to modify some templates to create some things for building community, for establishing classroom norms, and for engaging students during your meetings. We're also going to identify different SFUSD applications that you can use during your virtual meetings, both synchronously and asynchronously. And hopefully, through this whole session, I will be modeling for you how to create a really engaging, fun, joyful, community building space for your students. Okay, so again, I just want to make sure that we all have the tools we're going to be using for this session. It's going to be the slide deck that I'm working on right now, as well as the toolkit for resources, okay? So make sure you have both of these things, and Zareen will again post that into the chat just to make sure you all have it. If anyone doesn't after this point, please let us know, and we will post it up for you in the chat, okay? All right, so are you ready? Get your engines revved, because here we go. The first thing we want to do when we start working with our students at the beginning of the year, just like we would in classroom face-to-face, is establish our norms, okay? So this SFUSD school district has created some student norms for teaching and norms for online learning. And the most important thing to know about these are all really good norms to think about when you're establishing your norms with your teachers, students, excuse me. But the ones that I want to point out are the legal ones, okay? It is, and it will also be in our new MOU contract, that we need to make sure that when we are recording our synchronous meetings or recording our meetings in general, that we need to have no student identifiable information available and in those meetings. So that is the one clean, clear piece of information. You can record your synchronous meetings. However, you need to make sure there is no student identifiable information, okay? So you can use Screencastify just to capture your, your visual, the shared screen and your voice without taking in this like chat with the students' names and the participants box. Okay, so there's ways to get around it, but that is one clean, clear piece. The next legal piece is that students are not allowed to record other students. This is all about privacy and safety, and we want to make sure that it is very clear and that you establish this with your students it also, right? So just like you can't record them with, well, you can record, but you can't record them. You want to make sure that you are very clear with your students about that, okay? Then the rest of these we're going to kind of talk about a little bit, but really it's just about, you know, our regular norms, right? Being respectful, being responsible, being safe, and talking to your students about this. So when you get in for the next week, you really want to talk to your students and have a nice open conversation about what it's like to be online and how we do it in a respectful manner. And just like we would when we come into the school year in a normal year, this is not a normal year, but if it was a normal year, what we would do is we would sit down with our students and talk and establish those norms and establish the rules and build our community together. Take as much time as you would do for that as you would for your online community, because we know that we need to create a safe space for our students. And once we build that community, our students can engage in the content better. So I have this quote, and if there's anyone that can't see it, let me know and I can read it out loud for you if needed. But I really like it. I'm just going to give you guys a couple minutes, like a minute to read it. And I appreciate the people who are giving me some reactions to tell me they're done reading that. And why I think that this is so important is because I think as teachers, we all feel this, right? That first day, I mean, you're all feeling it right now, that excitement about the school year starting. A lot of us are probably anxious about starting in this new way. And then we get to that last day and it's like our hearts break. We're going to miss our students so much. And what happens in the middle is building community. And the point I want to make here is that we don't have to build it tomorrow, and it doesn't have to be done next week all of a sudden, right? We build community, and our relationships with our students ebb and flow throughout the whole year. So don't rush it. Give yourselves the grace that you need to build that community slowly, just like you would in the regular classroom, and recognize that it will be different this year, but it's going to work and it's going to happen.
There was a request to just read that out loud.
Oh, sure. Okay. The first and the last day of school are the hardest for a teacher. The first day, you are starting all over again. The last day, you are letting go of the process that was made. What comes in the middle is the building of a classroom community. Create your classroom community first, and the learning will fall naturally into place. And that's from Kathy Griffin's Teaching Strategies, 2013. Okay. So I want to start with the basics and just talk to you a little bit about some of these norms. Now, I'm not going to give you a list of norms to make with your students because you all know what is important to you, and it's also, you know, just individual, right? If you have a kindergartner, the norms that you would set are a little different than the ones that you would make for 7th graders, high schoolers, or 3rd graders. So what I have for you is kind of some basics, foundations to get you started. I recommend that you start and end each meeting the exact same way. And when you do this, what you're going to do is set a precedent and set those expectations for your students so they know every meeting I have with Rebecca Bradley, I am going to get into my waiting room. I'm going to get a message from my teacher, and it might be like, I want you to do 10 jumping jacks, right? Before class starts. And those are the jumping jacks. So you know you're going to have a little activity to move your body a little bit before you come into the meeting. And then Rebecca might have all of the students come in through the waiting room one at a time, or she might admit all the students all at the same time. You can think about how you have them enter the classroom to set that expectation. And then at the end of the meeting, you set it up exactly the same way. Okay, guys, maybe it's a review of what you just did and next steps so that they know exactly what they're doing when they leave the meeting with you. I don't know about you guys. I'm a big podcast fan. Who's a big podcaster? Okay, Dak Shepard is my joy. Love him. When I used to commute, and I mean used to, I would listen to him backwards and forwards to the city and back, and he always starts his podcast exactly the same way, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And it just sees, Irene's got a big smile. I see smiles already on your faces because you know that welcome brings joy to your heart and to you as a person. And so think about how you're going to set up that welcome and make it the same and get those kids joyful and bringing you in to your meeting. Okay, the next thing. Now this has been from the research, okay? We surveyed parents, we surveyed students, we surveyed teachers. And spring was a little Wild West, right? But now we're starting for the beginning of the year. We want to set the precedent of schedule and routine. And we want to keep that schedule and routine the same as we can. I know we're going to have emergency situations. Our kid's going to come flying in from behind. You know, they're going to fall on the trampoline. Mine did the other day while I was in a meeting. It's going to happen, right? But as much as possible, if we can set that schedule so that our students know, oh, it's 10:30. I have ELA class on the Zoom meeting. I go to Clever, I click on the link, and I come in. The more we can get this going, the better. So keep a routine, keep that schedule, because you know what, as parents, we need it too. Then think about setting those online meeting norms with your students and be really clear about what's happening in the meeting. So before, when we were doing the paper and pen activity, remember? I said, write it down, but don't put it in the picture because I want you guys to hold on to it. By being as explicit and clear with your instructions about what tools you want to be used and when, the more our students will be able to be engaged in the meeting with you. Okay, so I have some examples up here, which is, okay, so for the next minute, I don't want anyone to put anything in the chat. I want you to just listen to what I'm saying. Then if you have questions afterwards, pop them in, right? So that way they know eyes on me, just like you would in the classroom. So think about these different strategies and pieces that you do regularly in the classroom, call and response, right? Guinea pig, whee, right? Like it's just exactly, it's like you think about what you would do there and you can do it all here, okay? It's just gonna be a little different. But if you think about who you are as a teacher and what were your go-to strategies in the classroom, then you can take those and kind of twist them a little bit to put them onto a screen. Okay. So, is there a problem with my display right now?
The display looks fine. One person is saying it's not advancing, so she can look at the slides separately, I think. I think for everyone else, it's fine.
Okay. Let me know because I'm on a new computer today. Okay. So like I just been saying, if you were in person with your students, you would do a lot of things. We're going to do the same thing just because we're virtual. We're still going to go through. And it's really important, more and more, especially right now, that our students' voices are heard in building the community, in establishing those norms, and all of the different things that you're doing, because that's going to make them feel safe with you, right? So think about how you're going to start that first week. Everybody should have community meetings. And if you're a high school teacher and you don't, think about that first 5-10 minutes of building community activities and really thinking how you're going to get that student voice into establishing the norms with your students. So some places I think you might want to think about setting up and establishing some norms, or what I'm calling protocol. You can call them a community engagement. Community agreements, you can call them norms, whatever word you want to use. But basically, let's think about where those would be and what they would be for. So, establishing norms for sharing the air. I don't know about you, but in the spring, my 11-year-old, he got on this first meeting and it was like craziness. Everyone was so excited to see each other. They were just like, talk, 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 chat, 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 talk, 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 chat, chat, chat. Because our kids really need some peers around them that they don't have right now. And so the thing is thinking about building some protocol for sharing the air. The other thing I've kind of mentioned already, but think about how our students are going to enter the classroom. I saw one idea that I kind of love is that you let the students in one at a time through the, so everyone's in the waiting room. You let every student in one at a time and spend 30 seconds, just 30 seconds with each student. Whether you build some, just like if they were lined up in front of the door and you had like, I used to do handshake, hug, or high five, right? You can still do it, right? Handshake, hug, high five. Okay, so you can still do them. You can still do your little like clap, clap, tap, tap, whatever it is, right? Find the way that you're going to connect with your students and bring them into the classroom. So each student feels special. So each student gets to greet you. This is also going to be a way for you to connect names and faces, right? Because that's going to be a hard one for us to remember all of our students' names in this environment. So that's a good one to think about. Then you also want to think about establishing a protocol for calling on students. We have, you can think about giving each student a number, right? And you can call out a number and then that person, unmutes themselves and they answer. You could use a random name generator. Flippity has one. There's also, and I'll show you in the toolkit, a spinner, a name spinner. You put all your students' names in it and you can spin the spinner. So it would just be a tab that you go to, click it, and whoever name comes up, you call on that person. But whatever your system is, find one system to use for at least the first couple of weeks, right? Because normally we would have equity sticks in a box, right? We'd pull out an equity stick. You can still use those. Don't think you can't. If you want to use equity sticks, go for it. But if you want to do it online, there's options available too, okay? Then think about your asking and answering questions protocol and how you're going to set up those norms, right? So you guys are participants in this meeting, and hopefully you have clicked on the participants button and that button pops up. If you haven't, click on the participants button down at the bottom of the toolbar now. And when you do so, you'll see a couple of nonverbal cues at the bottom, okay? And so you've got a hand that raises, right? Anyone want to try it out? Put a little blue hand up in your box. There we go. Monica's got one. Laura's got one. Exactly. Look at you guys. You all have so many questions. Oh my goodness. It's blowing up. Craziness. All right. You got a yes and a no. So you have a green circle for yes and a red one for no. You might not have polling right now, but you have a yes and no, and you can get a good quick idea of where students are at. Next to that, you've got a go slower and a go faster. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm from New Jersey, and sometimes I get all Jersey and I start talking really fast. Again, I'm gonna just go over it because I see some confusion on the faces in my screen. If you take your mouse and you move the arrow on the screen, you'll see the toolbar pops up at the bottom, and there's a button called Participants. And if you click on Participants, that opens up a white box. And on that white box, you have your nonverbal cues available. Then also, you have next to go slower and go faster, you have a little circle with a dot, dot, dot. And if you click on that, you got a thumbs up, you got a thumbs down, you got a, I've gone for coffee, which I hope most of your students won't be using, and then a little timer. So if they need to like take a bio break, maybe the timer goes up. And you just know where that student has gone to. But you can use these nonverbal cues along with the reactions piece to set norms with your students of how to communicate. Because let me tell you, there's a reason I have Zareen here with me. And that reason is clear, right? It is a lot of work to be delivering content, managing the chat, managing the waiting room, and managing the participants all at the same time. So the more that you can use these nonverbal cues to establish norms, the easier it's going to be for you to facilitate the content for your students instead of just managing the meeting, okay? And then once you have these protocols set up, your meetings are going really well, you're getting to that point where you really need to build some more rigor. What you can do then is start working on establishing your group work norms. And at that point, you might want to think about roles, right? Roles like I'll be the facilitator, timekeeper, note taker, and really think about how those roles are going to play out in a digital space. The more clear and more explicit we are with our students, the more engaged they will all be. Okay. So the thing I have to say is this. Again, I say build your toolkit as you go. I'm giving you a lot of information today. That's for sure. But think about like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that you're going to use next week. And think about holding on to some of these strategies for a little bit later, because we want you to build your toolkit as you go along, right? I don't know what I'm saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, neither is your virtual meeting room, right? And your community. So it's important to think, what am I comfortable with right now? What are the most important norms I need to set with my students? And start there, and then build on those as you go, okay? So I have this game for us, and I'll be honest and say it doesn't always go so great, because what you first need to do when I put you into the breakout rooms is give yourselves a number, okay? So this is where I'm modifying this lesson. So please listen to what I'm saying versus what's on the screen for 1 second. Grabbing that piece, that go-to piece of paper that you had before, or a Post-it note, okay? And when you come into the room, when I put you in breakout rooms, think about writing your number and then holding it up with your face like this. Because before, you know, you're all strangers and putting you in a room, I'm not establishing numbers right now. So it's a little bit difficult and some tricky, but basically this is a game you can play with your students to teach them how to practice sharing the air with no interruptions. And so in the virtual fantasy world that I have, every student has a number assigned to them that with their name. And the whole class would work in speaker view together, and they would call out their number from 1 to, like, say 25 without interruptions. So I'm going to put you into your breakout rooms. When you get into your breakout room, what you want to do is, yeah, that's better. Okay. I want you to call out your name and say your number. And once you have that number, then go through everybody. There's going to be about 6 or 7 in each room. When you get to 7, when you're number 7, you can say, okay, we're ready to start. So then everybody should have a number. And then you're going to start. You're going to call out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. When you get to 7, then try and do it really fast. And if you guys get that down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I challenge you to do it backwards. Okay. I am going to open up all the rooms and I'm going to set a 5-minute timer. So everybody, off you go. Everybody's assigned. Is anybody having technical difficulties why they can't get into the room? If so, please just unmute yourself and let me know. Or I'm assuming some of these are like doubles of people. Hey, Zareen.
Great.
How's it go? How are you?
Sounds great. Yeah, sounds good.
Hi there. Pretty good.
Siri's talking to me.
That happens a lot when people say Zareen. Siri thinks they're talking to her.
Oh. That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's great.
A lot of people in this meeting.
Yeah.
And they keep coming in.
Yeah, I know. They keep coming in more and more.
All right. We're going to be done with norms now.
Nice.
Oh, no, we're not done with norms yet, actually. How am I doing on timing?
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock now, so you still got a good amount of time.
How much time have I spent already?
45 minutes. You're almost halfway through.
Oh, my mentee just wrote me. She's freaking.
This week, yeah.
What time am I done at 3?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I totally, see, I did it again. These 5 minutes, I can't keep track of that. At least I know my faults.
That's good.
Oh, all right. I am going to say, I mean, I put them in rooms with 7, so I'm going to say they have 1 more minute.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Closing the rooms. Welcome, welcome everybody back. You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the participants box on how that went, because sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't, but I'd love to know. Okay, thanks Beth, thanks Vic. Erasmo, thank you. Nice, Henry, thank you so much. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so it looked like it went a little bit better this time. I think the small numbers is really what we need to do. Okay, so now, once you have established the norms and procedures, think about this. If you were in your classroom, once you did that, you'd probably have a nice poster, you'd all put your names on it and sign it, right? Yeah? So how do we do that in the virtual space? Well, think about a nice, fun way to do that, and here we go. Okay, I have some examples, and yes, I have jumped on the Bitmoji wagon, and I am riding it really nice and strong. You will see this in my digital agency classrooms, and you do not need to jump on the Bitmoji wagon with me. However, I have some examples, and this is going to be our first place we're going to use that toolkit, okay? So we will put that little toolkit link right back into the chat for you, just in case you haven't opened it up yet. And the first section is on norms. Sorry, let me get out of here for a second. Okay, and so here it is. You can see it right here. It's a toolkit that I've created for you. And yes, this toolkit is for you to use. You can share it with friends. You can do whatever you want with it. However, I am going to say this. I took a lot of other people's Bitmoji work, which means nobody is allowed to sell it on Teachers Pay Teachers or anything like that. So feel free to use this work, but please note that it is other people's work that I have put in here that I've given permission to share, and please be respectful of that. So when you click on the link, it's going to open up a new window, and the virtual meetings toolkit looks like this. Okay, I see a number of you in there. And this first section is called Establishing Norms. Now, one thing to know about this is I have created these documents or slide decks in what you call a template view. The template view works as follows. You click on, click on the document and open it up. And when you open it up, you're going to be seeing it in preview mode. But up here on the top right is called Use Template. And what that's going to do, say you look at this template and you're like, oh my God, I love this, and this is going to work perfect for my classroom. I just need to put my Bitmoji in. Or I just want to put some pictures in because I don't really like those Bitmoji things. You can just click on Use Template, right? And when you do that, what it's going to do is it's going to force a copy of this slide for you into your drive. Okay, so it won't be mine anymore. It will be yours to use. Okay, so I'm going to use this navigation down at the bottom and click through it. And it says video chat expectations. And I like this one. It looks like it's really nice. So I'm going to use it. And then I just click on Use Template. Okay, so for the next 5 minutes, I am going to give you time to go through the toolkit and check out those waiting, the establishing norms pieces, all right? We'll mute that. But isn't it funny? For all of my early educators out there, it's got like nursery rhymes. Yay! Okay, so 5 minutes, enjoy. And again, if you have any questions, put it into the chat box and we'll be happy to help.
There was one question that came up earlier that we didn't get to about when you were talking about privacy. If it's okay, I think the question was when you're recording, is it okay to say student first names? I don't know if you know the answer to that.
Oh, like they wouldn't have their first name and last name, but just their first name?
Like if you say it out loud while you're recording, is there a privacy issue?
No, because I mean,
I think it's okay too, yeah.
I think that's fine. Identifiable information.
Right.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to say that we are going to come back because our 5-minute timer is up, but we didn't see the warning because I turned off the nursery rhymes. So here we are again. I hope that you had a minute to really look at those pieces and find a tool that you could use with your students. And if not, there's lots of different posters out there, or make your own. Maybe you're an artist and you love to draw, and you draw your poster and you take a picture of it, and that's what you post and share with your students. It does not have to be in a very virtual format. Really think about personalizing it for you and who you are as a teacher, because that's going to share who you're a little bit of you with your students. Okay. So well, now that we've kind of established norms and we've talked about norms, now what I want to do is like set the stage a little bit. Okay. And so I'm sure you've heard these words, synchronous and asynchronous. It's going to be in our contract. I just wanted to kind of go over the differences a little bit and then kind of go over each tool. Now, I'm not going to go into any technical pieces about Zoom and about all the different tools. There are plenty of webinars out there, and Zareen will put the link into the chat box so that you guys can watch them at another time. But when you're talking about synchronous meetings, you're talking about just what we're doing right now, right? We're all learning at the same time. You can get feedback instantly. Hopefully it's engaging. And, you know, if you have a question, you can always ask it. Versus asynchronous, where students are learning at the different times. Communication is not live, it is recorded. However, given that all of our students are in different situations, it really does provide them some convenience and flexibility for them to be able to learn at their own time. The other thing about it is it allows them to also work at their own pace. I might be talking too fast for you guys. You might want to come back to this session and look at the recording another time. You might not have, 5 minutes might not be enough time to like look at a piece, document and modify it, right? And that's okay, because the synchronous part of your meeting should be where you are conversing, where you're talking, where you're engaging in critical thinking, right? Where you're asking those questions and getting clarification. And that asynchronous time should really be what drives your content in my mind. And that's just me. And I have some examples here, and I'm not sure why this is all like this, but this was the slide that was supposed to be before that. And here you go. Everything's not perfect, and we just got to flow with it. So synchronous, we have 2 tools in our platform for SFUSD for synchronous meetings, and you can choose which one's going to work best for you. We have Zoom, which you guys are on right now with me, or you have Google Meet. Now Zoom's got all the, you know, I'd say a really robust tool, or it's got all of the, you know, fancy sparkly things. And Google Meet is a much more simple platform. But whichever one you're going to use, you can think about your synchronous meetings happening for whole class, for small group, and your office hours, those very, very, very important office hours for families, for students, really giving them opportunities to ask questions, get clarification, and really understand what they need to know. The other thing is asynchronous, right? And we have Screencastify. Now I'm going to let you guys know we have Screencastify paid, which means you guys have premium Screencastify. It is an extension that you put up, guinea pig, woo! Yay. So yes, so you have your asynchronous and we have Screencastify. And the thing that's amazing is this, you guys. Screencastify is not just for teachers. It's on every single student's Chromebook as well, okay? So not only can you use Screencastify for you to record videos for your students, but your students can record videos for you. So some places I think of for asynchronous, your key concepts. If you're introducing a new topic, if you need content to be delivered to your students that they really need to know, I highly recommend that you make a recording of it, because then your students can watch it and then come to your synchronous meeting and ask questions about it, right? Or go back to that, they're working in their independent learning time, and then they can use that video to guide them through the information. Another thing, think about using it for your daily welcome. Get dressed up, have fun, do a sing and dance, right? Bring joy with these videos, have fun with them. Bring out your personality, take a walk and record yourself, whatever it is, okay? And remember, students can use it. Another great thing to do is, your students turn in that first writing assignment, right? Yes, you could put in some notes and give them a grade, or you could have it up on the screen and use Screencastify to record yourself reviewing their work. That's going to give it a personal touch, right? That's going to say, I care about you, and this is what I have to say about your work, and I'm so proud of you. Another thing, maybe you're like me, maybe you're not. At the beginning of the year, I used to make a little note for each of my students, right? Like a little hello greeting. And I would make a little card for each student. It would be a little individual one, and I would hand it to them, and it would be my goal within that first 2 weeks of my class to make sure I have one for each student. Maybe you could use this recording and make a little recording for each of your students to say, and it might be 3 weeks or 4 weeks that it takes for you to do it all, but try to make a little recording for each kid and say, I loved the other meeting when you said blah, 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 right? You can take some little anecdotal notes. And again, the more that we can personalize things, the more that we can spark and engage our students and let them see who you are as a person, the better. So lots of different ideas here for you. And so once you have, a plan for what you're going to do in your synchronous meetings, what you're going to do in your asynchronous meetings, then you can think about building your community. And this is the little pieces that we love, right? And I think that the most important piece for me to share is that this little quote right here from Mrs. Blackwell, who is a kindergarten teacher. Students learn best when they feel welcomed, comfortable, and safe, right? And so what we need to do is think about how we're going to build community with our students. So thinking about what would we do, and I keep coming back to this, right? You have your tools in your toolbox for in-person classroom. How do we take those tools in our toolbox and readjust them into a virtual space? Okay, so how are we going to recreate those classroom activities and make them into online activities? Now, I've just been talking for a long time, haven't I? Right? You guys don't need to hear me talk any longer for a second. So what I want you each to do is this. I have 3 slides with a lot of strategies, okay? Yes, there's a lot. I want you to even come back to them in a couple of weeks and say, oh, I can use that one now, okay? But I want you to go through these different pieces. The first slide is going to be about how do we build genuine connection in the screen? How does that happen? Next, how are we going to bring joy to our classroom in this virtual meeting? Because joy is what makes it all work, right? And then I have some games for us to do, some games for us to play. Okay, so your job, your task for the next 5 minutes, and if you need more time, let me know, is to read through each slide in the slide deck. Okay, and then if you have a strategy you're interested in using, pop it into the chat box. Okay, just pop it into the chat box for us to see. All right, so I am going to actually say at 2:25 we will come back. And so your task is to read through each of the slides, find a strategy you want to use, and pop it into the chat box, okay? I wish I had some music. I don't have any music. Okay, we got about 1 more minute on the clock, so hopefully we're finishing up. Okay, everybody. And at this point, what I'd love for you all to do is as follows. We're going to play a game called This or That. Okay. And so if you feel comfortable, please start your videos so that we can see each other. And you want to kind of like have as many people in your grid as possible. Thank you for coming out and joining us. And all you're gonna do is use your fingers. So everyone get your fingers ready, get them shaking out, move it a little bit. If you need to move your body a little bit, move your body a little bit. Yeah, let's really loosen up. We've been in meetings all day. Woohoo! Okay, and while you're getting ready, I'm going to get us set up with this or that. You can even play a little game show, right? And here we go. Are you ready? Okay, get those fingers ready. We're going to get to know each other by playing this or that. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, the rules of the game are think about your two choices and then hold up the hand symbol that you see. Thumbs up or peace sign, okay? If you have arthritic hands like me and it's hard to make a peace sign, you can just put up two like this, okay? So here we go. Which would you enjoy more, beach day or camp out? And go. Excellent. Okay, got a lot of campers out there with us, Doreen. All right, do you prefer mystery or fantasies? Who's with me on fantasies? Who's my fantasy people out there? I got lots of fantasy peeps out there. Yes, we do. My mom's a mystery lady. I'm a fantasy girl. If you could choose one thing to eat, would it be pizza or sushi? Got some pizza people out there. Yes. I am not one of them. Okay, pick between these two cuddly creatures, cats or dogs. Got some dog lovers out there. Hard to find a puppy right now, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay, do you like to draw or dance? Excellent. No, we got some artists out there. I need some tips. That's for sure. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Both.
How can you be both? Anyway, I don't know about you, but I don't know why, if we are night owls, we've become teachers. Got to get up way too early in the morning. Okay, here we go. Would you rather go bowling or skating? Oh, got lots of skaters out there. Okay, prefer a drink of choice, milk or juice? I don't like either of them. But I'll go with juice. All right, excellent. Okay, and pick the one you like best, video games or sports? Now, we should never be picking between video games and sports, but it's true. Okay, and what is your sweet treat that you prefer? Ice cream or candy? Ice cream, we all scream for ice cream, yeah. All right, well, thank you everyone. Great job. Give yourselves a round of applause for participating. And now you can see how you can do just a quick fun activity with your students. Now, if you're a high school teacher, right, you could make something very similar, but have Snapchat or Instagram. Are you an Instagrammer or a Snapchat? Records or CDs, you know, or like different artists or different things like that. You could do a dance move or another dance move. But like you can make it more secondary by just changing the topics and of this or that. So whether you're a kindergartner or a high school, you can all do this game with your students. It's fun, it's enjoyable. So I hope you get to use it, okay? So now that we have talked about establishing norms, talked about setting the stage, talked about building community, you guys have a couple of different strategies in your pockets. Now we're going to talk about building our digital pedagogy. So the way I think about it is this. A lot of us are it's going to take us a while before we get to that place where we're going to be starting to think about rigor, right? We got to really focus in on student wellness and healing and community first. Those are our first trajectives, right? After we've gotten those things down and we're starting to think about content and really delivering that content in rich, authentic ways and building rigor into it, we want to think about that graduate profile and how we are going to get some student choice in there, some collaboration, and some assessment. So first we're going to talk about collaboration. And I just wanted to talk quickly about some tools that you can use in our SFUSD approved apps. We now have Padlet. If you have not used it, I highly recommend it. It is a great, quick and easy tool to use. We're going to use it in just a minute. Also, if you've never used it, we have Jamboard. Jamboard is part of the Google suite, so it's never going to go away. It's never going to end, and you have as many Jamboards as you want, and you can make multiple pages. So it's really nice to be able to do something that you know is going to be with us for always. Then we also have Explain Everything, which is a virtual whiteboard that you can collaborate. I only recommend using Explain Everything in small group. The reason I say that is because it's a great tool to use for small group, but you can only have max 8 students on the freemium version of it. It is not a paid SFU Central District Office app, but it can be really useful if you have, say for math, a small group that you want to like review a concept with, right? Because it has that digital whiteboard for you and your students. And let's not forget about Google Suite and the amazing things you can do to collaborate with it, right? You can create a shared story. I don't know about you, but I used to love doing this with my 3rd graders, right? You have a starter, and then each kid collaborates a little bit of the story until you have a big one. In your toolkit, you've got Mad Libs. You can do Mad Libs, but in a shared piece. You can use Google slide deck, right? And each student has a different slide, and then do a gallery walk. Lots of different ways to have some collaboration when you're ready. And the next thing, why is that like that, is choice boards. Sorry for the picture coming out a little messed up and not showing you the choice boards word, but choice boards are so great to use in a virtual environment. Okay, it is a way to provide students and give students that personalized touch. They get to choose how they present the content to you. Think of it as going out to dinner, because all of us are probably really missing just going out to a restaurant, right? But when you go out to the restaurant, you treat yourself. You have an appetizer, right? Then you have your main entree, and you might even get a little dessert. And you can think of a choice board just like that. Think of your appetizers as a way, like a small short task that your students do with a couple of different options. And then you get that menu from the restaurant and you have a number of different entrees you can choose. Those are where you put the chunk in, right? You get that deep content in there. And then at the end, you have a nice sweet treat for dessert, and you can think about having them finish it up with a nice sweet treat. There's a couple of different choice boards in this slide deck that you can check out. We probably do not have time, or you can explore these when we have exploration time, is what I'll say. Come back to these to explore them. The tic-tac-toe one is great. You just pick and choose which ones you want to use, or there's different choice board templates. We even have one from SFUSD here. But think about bringing in some choice boards into your repertoire to really have that student voice. Let them show you who they are. Are they an artist? Are they a videographer? So that is, again, this is after you have built community, right? This is after you have established and you're starting to build rigor with your students. And then we have check for understanding. Now, for check for understanding, the one thing I'd like to say is this. Think about entrance and exit tickets these days, because you can create a Google form to be a nice check-in for your students each time. Think about it as, even for kindergartners, right? It could have just emojis. It could have a smiley face, a frowny face, and a straight face, right? And you could just get a quick little check-in. Now, I get that high school students have 150 kids, but you can do it, once a week, just like maybe on Fridays, a check-in. And the other thing that I want to say is, remember to actually get feedback from your students about how things are going, because we're in this whole new environment, right? So it's not just check for understanding how they're doing, but using check for understanding to get feedback of your process with them, so that they can kind of inform the instruction a little bit more. What do they need to be successful this week, right? Because we're all in this together, but it's all new for everybody. And so the more you can use these different checks for understandings to see how they're doing, what blocks they have, and get feedback on how you're doing and what they need from you to be successful and engaged, the more that you will be able to understand and inform your instruction. So entrance tickets and exit tickets. And then there's also going to be places for different types of like polling and quizzes. We have Kahoot, right? Who doesn't love a good Kahoot? But you've got Kahoot for like lots of fun. You got Mentimeter. You can make word clouds with Mentimeter. If you haven't used Mentimeter yet, it is a great little tool to use in your presentations. Builds a lot of interactivity and engagement. So you have lots of different options for checking for understanding. Now, what I'd like to do is share out together, because you guys all have stuff that we can learn from. And so I built out a little digital Padlet to share out with the question of, how can we use collaboration and check for understanding in our virtual meetings to engage students, build bigger and deeper learning? So that link is right here, and I will take it because I think I made a change to it. Or did I did, oh, thank you. I did it right, yes. All right, and so we're gonna just take a couple of minutes for you guys to think. Again, I've been talking a lot, and I don't love talking that much. Okay, if you could come to this Padlet and share out, how can we use collaboration and check for understanding in our virtual meetings to engage students, build rigor, and deeper learning? So click on that link, please, and share your thoughts with everyone. Is everybody able to access it? Please let me know. Okay. And if you don't know how to use a Padlet, click on the link, and then in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little circle with a plus. You just click on that, and it's almost like building a virtual wall of Post-it notes. That's what Padlet, the one I've set up here. Also, the recordings.
Sorry, we're not seeing the plus sign. I wonder if you have to adjust something.
Oh, somebody, oh, okay, here, let me. What do I need to do, Zareen?
I think in the settings, upper right, if you go to settings, I think you can adjust it.
Okay, give me a second. The comment, allow viewers to comment on post is on, attribution is on, new posts are up. Reactions should be set up the right way. I don't have that on. Bummer.
for now.
Don't you just want people to type under those two categories? That
Yeah,
just, you could
sure.
just add,
Yeah, I
add
mean,
a comment?
Yeah, just
It
yes.
looks like you said it that way. It doesn't look like you said it to double click on the actual Padlet, which is fine. That's fine.
But I did. It's weird that it's not working that way because I did. But okay. Yeah,
Scan
just
the
comment
QR
underneath it. Sorry, you guys. Everything's not always going to be perfect in this world that we're in, right? We're always going to modify it as we go along.
And Devorah, if they use the QR code scanner using their phone, they can actually post to one that looks like you've already had established. So it adds to one that you had created 2 hours ago.
Yeah, that was this one. Interesting. I'm new
Yeah,
to Padlet, as you can tell.
if they scan the QR code.
Sorry that there's no plus sign. Huh. I did the remake. Let me see.
Yeah, the QR code is on the link that you told us to have open in a separate window.
You can actually just click on the bottom with that little icon, double click there, and it'll let you type in. You see where the comments are? Just below that, there's a little icon. You can click right there.
It's doing something weird. Anyway, all right.
Wow.
Life goes on, guys. We'll move on. Okay.
Oh,
And we'll just call it. That it's all good. And again, I think this is a perfect modeling of that we're not always, we might set stuff up for our class, and we might have our plan for our lesson in our meeting, and we might not, it might not work. I've been like following teacher forums of teachers that have already started doing their distance learning, and one teacher who's been back for a week, she shared, have a backup to your backup to your backup.
oh, good idea.
Because the fact of the matter is we're all, you know, some things are going to work, some things are going to freeze, things are going to break. It's just going to happen in our world today. And so the more that we can have backed up, the better it is. This is a good lesson for me right now, to learn a little bit more about Padlet and remaking my posts and going from there. So I'm going to come back to the presentation, and I'm going to say, I would love for us to collaborate. Maybe a nice place to do it right now in a switch up is in chat. If you have something that you think you would like to share, please put it into chat. That's a nice way for us to share right now. The question is, how can we use collaboration and check for understanding? And that says is, but it's supposed to be in our virtual meetings to engage students, build rigor, and deeper learning. And I'll just give us a couple minutes to like think about that idea and then post in the chat instead. Or maybe if this is like what happens in real life and your Padlet doesn't work, you can just jump in the breakout rooms, right? So there's lots of different options, but again, that's just that backup to that backup to that backup. Thank you. Okay, so I really want to just say this. I think, again, I've talked a lot. You have a lot of information from your whole day. I really wanted to give you guys a couple minutes to do some exploring in that toolkit. And I want to re-emphasize the fact that this toolkit is for you. Share it with other teachers. And yeah, I didn't put the settings correct on my Padlet, and I apologize. But I wanted to give you some time to explore in the toolkit a little bit more. So I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock. Or no, maybe, do I have 10 minutes? Yeah, maybe 8 minutes, I think, just because of given timing, I want to come back together to say goodbye properly. So go into that toolkit. Maybe there was something that you wanted to look at, like the Mad Libs. I don't know about you, but I'm crazy for Mad Libs. I think they're so fun. There's Mad Libs in there and lots of different pieces. So find something you want to click on, or just click on a bunch of different things and explore. But we're going to just take 8 minutes to explore that toolkit a little bit longer. And if you have any questions, let me know. Okay? if there was I saw that there was one of the documents in the toolkit that wasn't open, so I just changed the settings for the Design Your Own Virtual Locker. If there's anything else, let me know so I can change it, okay?
Desiree had a comment about wondering if the phases were too broken down and thinking about content as a unifying factor. And I think there's a big interplay really between community building and content. And I think you have to do what makes sense for your students, and it should be connected, right? I don't know if you want to add anything, Devorah.
No, I think that was clear. I think, yeah, you know, for me, it's like, I think about even thinking about making games that have content. You could even use that, this and that, right? You know, War of 1812, was it, you know, this or that? Was it, you know, and you could really put content into it. You can build games into the content. You can build community while you're building content. It's just, you got to think a little outside the box. Yeah.
And two other quick questions. There isn't a link for one of the things for the All About Me. Laura was asking about that.
You know, I'll be honest with you. The reason there's not one about that is because I think there's so many templates out there that I didn't want to put one in that was specifically early ed, elementary, or high school, because it's honestly like the one that's like that hundreds of thousands of them out there already. The 21 questions one is a really easy go-to one that you can do for high school. The virtual locker one is a good one for high school. And the All About Me, I feel like that's very, what you could make a slide deck for that one. You could make a worksheet for that one. You could have the kids create a video. There's so many different ways that you can do it. One thing that has stuck with me, again, I've been reading a lot about these teacher forums and stuff like that, was, you know, that question that you, how was your summer? Right? I think that's one point that that I heard from a psychologist teacher that was like, this year, you might want to think about rephrasing that question and making it more about how they learn as a student, or one thing they'd like to learn this year, or something like that, because again, our students have been kind of stuck inside and had a mostly relatively weird summer. So thinking of those traditional questions and really bringing them into an equity lens, and thinking, you know, into that anti-racist practice and things, to try and really think about how can I get to know my students at the beginning of the school year without delving into the negative world that they've kind of been living in, this isolated section. Okay. So I'm going to say that we're getting close to the end of our session, you guys. It's been great being with you, but a lot of you have probably a lot of questions about what everything's going to happen, how it's going to be, where are my lesson plans, where's this, where's that, where's this. And I wanted to just share with you that at the end of this slide deck, I popped in the DOT resources for you. And here you can see that we've got a couple different things. The DOT Google resources. If you click on each of these links, the resources, it takes you to all different places, especially help desk ticket, okay? Help desk ticket. Submit a ticket. Do not email help desk. You will get responses much faster. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you are in. Now you know. Submit a help desk ticket if you need to. Also, digital agency. I've worked very hard this summer on digital agency. And if you are K-5, middle school or high school, your content is right there. I hope you enjoy. I really do. But this is the content you want to cover with the 6 topics. If you're in middle or high school, your school will be telling you how this digital agency content is going to be delivered. So don't just think that you need to deliver it. There is a process in middle school that is different than a process in high school, that is different than elementary. So check in with your principal and find out the plan before you start thinking you need to deliver this content. Then, support for digital learning tools. Here's your digital backpack site. You got your getting started guides. You have a whole YouTube channel that's devoted to training that you can look at. And someone asked a question about where will the recordings from this day be? That's where, in the digital learning YouTube channel. So check in next week and all the recordings. If there was a session you didn't get to go to today, but you were like, I really want to do that session, it will be recorded and on the YouTube playlist. Webinars. We did tons of webinars this spring. We're still doing webinars in the fall. And all of them are recorded with the slide deck and one-pagers, which are awesome. Even if you just click on that office hours and webinars on distance learning link, just to get the one-pagers, like the one-pager on Google Classroom. There's a one-pager on Screencastify. Quick, easy, go-to, this is how. Okay? Next, the backpack. Backpack. Sorry, Dora. The digital backpack. You can, if you're like, what is this backpack they keep talking about? What is Clever? I don't know. Come here to this slide and it will give you it. In addition, the most amazing thing happened this summer ever. They took the crazy little website that was all about apps and they made it into this like gorgeous app website that tells you all the approved SFUSD tools along with little icons that tell you, is it a paid app by Central? If so, it's going to be like linked into you like Seesaw, or if it's a freemium, or if it's not paid and you have to ask your principal to pay for it. But it's like awesome. It is. Right, Zareen? Right? It's great. Go to it. Click on it. It's fabulous. Then here is like the mother of all core digital tools, right? The one ring that rules them all, my fantasy lovers out there. This is it. This has got everything you got to need. It's got SFEDU. It's got Google. It's got Seesaw. It's got Zoom and Meet. It's got it all. So just come here. And it's not just for you, the teacher. It's for families too. So make sure you take those links and have them available for your families because you're the ones that are going to be right there with them all the time. So make sure you know what we have available for them, okay? And then it's not it for families. We have more. Oh, before that, this link right here is for the Preparing the Digital Distance Guide. This is like your, again, one ring to rule them all. It's like 27 pages, but it does have a really nice table of contents. And if you wanted to go back to that norms for online learning that I talked about hours ago, that's there. If you wanted to get to the virtual meeting with students link that's in your toolkit, that's there. If you wanted to talk about digital learning resources and supports for family, it's there. So everything is there. It's like a big document, but it's really easily to look at. And then here is the family page. We have resources for families now. We have videos in 6 languages. We have a resource, a link that they can go to actually get physical help or on the phone help. There's tutorials. They have their own YouTube playlist, lots of different things. So I say this to you. I wanted you guys to know where to go to get the resources that you need and make sure that they were there for you.
Just to interject, I have some questions in the chat. I think some of these slides maybe aren't in that link. I was just going to go double check that. So if they're not, we can definitely add them.
What do you mean they're not in there?
That's the comments I'm getting. I was just going to go double check. I don't know if you have another version of this.
Well, I'm on the same slide deck that's linked to everybody. I don't.
Well, why don't we just check that afterwards? We've got about 1 minute. So we'll double check that afterwards that this bit.ly is going, that it has all those slides included.
Okay, I will make sure. Okay, they're not in the slide deck. Weird. But I will make sure that they are. So you have the link. I will make sure that they're there for you. I'm sorry. Weird. Anyway, okay. It is 2:59, you guys. I want to say thank you so much. I hope that you have at least 1, 2, 3 strategies that you can use for your students, with your students, okay? Please make sure that you know that there is a closing session at 3:15. Get a drink, stretch, drink some water, and don't forget guinea pig, week, right? And elephant, alligator, okay? Oh, and if you want to play ball with your students, you just get into that grid and you hold the ball, right? And I'm going to throw it to Jennifer Chu. Woo. And you do have to have the voices off, but yeah, but that's how it works. Play catch with your kids, bring joy, build community, and have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, love, we have a minute. Ava, are we gonna?
Yeah.
Okay.